You gotta love the countryside and getting off-piste. And when you're riding an all-terrain bike, that's exactly what you should do. So I'm out here doing a test review on the Sinnis Terrain 125, and as you know, I like to put them through the paces to the best of my ability. Let's go and get on with this ride, shall we? Do you have a little lie down? Oh, that's it. Join us after the intro. We'll see what trouble we can get into. Get off me. See you in a sec. Oh, don't make me stop. It takes me ages to get going again. Nail it now. Get myself up to speed limit. 42. 44. Zip past these. 40. Slow down for this corner. Good afternoon all, welcome to the channel. It is I, Richie Vida. Thanks for joining me. Okay, I'm back out on another bike review. The guys at Sinnis have been asking me to try this for a while, and I've just been that busy sorting the weekender stuff out. I've been pushing it off and off and off. Well, I can push it off no longer. It is now with me. So we're going to go out for a ride and see what we think. First impressions, genuine first impressions. I know it's only a 125. It is the Sinnis Terrain 125, or the Sinnis T125. Just under £3,000 on the road, brand spanking new. First impressions, it looks great. It does look great as an adventure bike. It's got its panniers, top box, big fat crash bars, unbelievably underpowered, but surprisingly torquey. Right, I'm in 6th. Watch. I'm in 6th gear, 30 mile an hour. And slow, even slower. 6th gear. Just roll onto the throttle again. It'll pull me out. So you don't need to change. I don't know if you call that torquey or if you call that low geared. But 6th gear you could just tootle around in. It's got a 14 litre tank, and that only cost me £10 to fill, and I would hope that that would last me a long time. Oh, you're going to be waiting a while. Cute. I've done 30 mile on that £10 so far, and still showing full tank, so we'll see how far that gets us, or how long it takes me to empty the tank. Because as you know, on reviews I always like to try and at least empty a tank, so I shall try and do just that. I tell you something I've noticed already. When you're on these little bikes, little CC bikes, and you're perhaps somewhere you shouldn't be, you don't get frowned upon like you would on a big bike. They look at you as they say, did you lose your way there? Come on, you shouldn't be down here, you know, on that. Okay, sorry. Off you go then. Whereas if you're on a big bike, they'll be like frowning on you like you're a hooligan tearing up someone's garden. I will say this, the horn on this bike is more manly and girthy than the one on my Africa Twin. Listen. That's no joke. The horn on the Africa Twin is woeful. I'm embarrassed to use it. I'm going to get me one of those Denali sound bombs, I think. But I digress. We're not talking about that today. We're talking about this. All terrain, it says. So we're going to go on that lane that I always like to go on and see how it copes. I might have made a mistake coming up here. Genuinely, I know it's a 125, but genuinely it is crazily underpowered. Look, watch this. ...25 mile an hour, 29, 30, 32, 34, reach 40, maybe at the crest of the hill. Right, just as 40 mile an hour, just as we're about to turn left. 41. It's actually, you know, so easy to ride because there's no power to it at all. And I say so easy. My Laura has been riding this round our garden. She's never even ridden a bike before, and she's just been riding it around the garden with, you know, no problems whatsoever. It's so easy to ride. Weighs nothing. Oh, that back brake's amazing. Wow, that shocked me. No ABS or anything, or any form of traction, not that you'll need it. I do like though that bikes now, manufacturers should I say, are all opt-in, which they all should, for a USB port. That USB port's powering my front camera. Or you can use it to charge your phone or your sat-nav or whatever. That's good, that is, I like that. It's cheap as chips. Cheap and cheerful, there's nothing at all fancy on it. Feels a little bit cheap, but that's what your first bike should be. But as we know, these 125 engines just go forever. Can I hit the speed limit? 56, it's going slower. Few vibes on the pegs at the moment, at this speed. We're at 8,000 revs. No vibes on the bars at all, but yeah, at this speed, at 8,000 revs, quite a few coming through my feet. But I didn't stop there then. That back brake is surprisingly good, surprisingly bitey. One thing you'd have to be careful with on 125s is, or especially this 125, is junctions. I pulled out the other day, my very first ride on it, pulled out of a junction, saw my gap, there was a lorry coming towards me, but saw plenty of a gap. I'll jump out, no problem. Quickly realised my grave mistake there. So if you're expecting a get up and go, it's not really the correct bike. 59, come on, 60, 61. There's a tiny little track here. I'll do this one first, see how it behaves. The first gear though is very weak, I found. You know, it'll stall really easily. If you don't give it enough gas setting off, it'll stall really easily. Let's have a look what it's like. What gear am I in? Second. It's comfortable to stand up on. The good thing is that you can go any way you want, and I guess it would behave. You can just take your time on it and pootle along. It's actually, yeah, alright actually. Back into first. Oh dear. Oh dear, I've scraped bottom of bike. See, it really doesn't like, you shouldn't really be able to, I have to give it some. Big old rock here to go over. The panniers are really in the way of your legs when you're off-roading, because you need to take your legs back quite a bit. It's hard work. Oh man. Let's go and have a look why this one's been closed then. Shouldn't be down here, folks, so bear with me. Well, obviously horses are coming down here. Crazy to see it all so overgrown. But it's been shut for 6 months. They filled it to see if that cracks anymore. Well, don't crack, does it? That's where we're going. Off-road section. Let's have a quick look around it then. Chuck these keys in. So you've got your bash plate, big old crash bars, protect the panniers too. I've laid it down several times on purpose. Very basic, but 3,000 quid on the road. Key in, flip your little latches, get your sandwiches in there, lovely. The thing that's very nice about it is that it weighs nothing. I'm in third gear, it's not going to set off in third, not a chance. No probs. You know, as a learner rider, just literally go and get your CVT. You could have this and ride it on road with L plates. You really would learn to ride, because you can go off piste any way you want, and you most definitely should do with something like this. No worries about dropping it because of the crash protection. Like I say, I've laid it down loads of times at home now just to show that it won't touch anything, and it literally hasn't made a single mark. I've only laid it down in grass, you understand, because I don't want to damage the crash bars. Ooh. But it would definitely teach you to ride properly. You'll learn your roadcraft on the road, and you'd learn how a bike likes to move under you off-road. That centre stand is quite annoying, bashing and banging along. Oh, it just shows that you can do it. We'll do as they say and go anywhere. So there's no power in it at all, so you're not going to get yourself in trouble. You know, you're not going to accidentally pull a wheelie or skid out of a junction, or, you know, do something daft on something like this, because there's literally no power. I would say it's not at all unpleasant off-road. I say you've got no restrictions at all, lack of any real weight. Nice turning circle, nothing's a hassle really. Anywhere you go, you can just chuck it, and you can keep with traffic quite easily. So we've established that it's nice off-road. It's actually really pleasant on road, dead comfy. It's got really nice panniers. Side stand could do with a bit of a stronger spring on it, because that bounces all the time. It's got a nice undercarriage. Lifter up. Light as a feather, folks. Light as a feather. Obviously, folks, the point of me laying it down for these photos and comedy and entertainment, the point is, I'm not being disrespectful because I'm doing it on grass so nothing gets scratched at all, not even the crash barriers are getting scratched. The reason I'm doing it is to show you that it weighs nothing. So you drop it, it's not a problem at all. Really not an issue. Front brake on its own is a bit rubbish. The back brake is great. Alright then, that'll do, I think. It's a very pleasant bike. Perfect first bike for someone. Whether you like adventure or not, or adventure bikes or not, I think this would be a perfect bike, perfect first bike, because, as I said, you'll learn your roadcraft on the road, but you can also go off piste of it and learn how a bike likes to move underneath you, and it'll set you up definitely for your riding career on different bikes or bigger bikes. Cheap as chips, looks nice, practical with the panniers. and crash bars. If you do drop it a couple of times when you're learning, you don't need to worry about having to fork out money for it because you'll not damage it. The Sinnis Terrain 125 or Sinnis T125. I hope it's been of some use to you. Right, I'm off. I shall see you on the next one. Thank you very much. Be good, be careful, and be kind. See ya.